Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our today's episode of In the Thick of It. My name is Valentine Simei, and I am your host. Today, I have a special guest, a preaching pilot. Please introduce yourself and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. My name is Emmanuel Kiprop, and I appreciate the invite you've given us today to this show. Yes.
So, please tell us a little about yourself.
So, let me begin. I went to school in Nairobi. I grew up partly in Nairobi and partly in Singishu County. Actually, this is where I am born, in Kapseret. So growing up in Kapseret, when we were at home, I would see aircrafts land. And that is where now the story of the pilot begins. Yes. And so growing up, seeing the aircrafts land at Eldoret International Airport, made me wonder, how do people who fly this aircraft feel like? And I began dreaming of becoming a pilot. And so going through school, I finished primary, joined high school, and then I went to Kenya School of Flying, where I achieved my license as a pilot.
Wow.
Yes.
So, now that takes us to the beginning. You know, many people view or we think aviation and theology are two very different. Of course, they are very different areas. I don't know why or what inspired you to go into piloting. You said you went to aviation. To Kenya School of Flying, and now you are a student of theology. Yeah. So what inspired you to come back and study theology?
Okay, thank you for that question. When I was in Form 3, my grandmother told me I could really preach. That I could teach and preach the Bible, and so she wanted me to become a pastor. But that was not my intention. I always wanted to be a pilot. I always wanted to fly planes. And so I told her it cannot be. Maybe just teach the Bible, but never become a pastor. And so I went ahead to become a pilot, and she since passed when I was in Form 4. And so I proceeded with my aviation until when I was in the aviation school. After I had just completed, I now wanted to be an instructor. And then I looked at how pilots behave and how they are just into the world. They are more, party lovers. They earn the money, spend it as they wish. And so I was like, I would want to teach these people the Bible that I've learned from school. Because while I was in school, I used to really learn a lot about the scriptures and understand who Jesus was in my life. And so I would want them to also be, people who know Jesus Christ. And that is when I remembered how my grandmother had told me, when you finish your aviation, go and do theology. That is when I told my captain at Kenya School of Flying that I want to go to Baraton University and do theology. And then he was like, how are you going to do that? I told him, the goal of life, beyond me being a pilot, beyond me being an individual, is to win Christ to people, allow people know Christ. That is the great commission we have as Christians, that Jesus will never come back again until everyone knows about Christ. And so that is where now I link aviation and theology. Being a preacher or a teacher of the Bible who is able to fly to any nation, while on my free time I can teach the Bible. And while you are in the corridors of the corporate world, people want to know what backs you're teaching. And so for me to teach the Bible, if I tell somebody I've done theology, I have a degree in theology, somebody can now the credibility, exactly. So the credibility of me being a theologian now gives me an upper hand of sharing the gospel at my position as a pilot.
Wow. That's interesting. That's why I call you the preaching pilot.
Preaching pilot,
because you want to finish theology and preach?
Yeah. So actually, by next year I'll be done. I'll be done with my theology training, and then I'll go back to my aviation lifestyle or my aviation career. And that is, I've had things like, or corporations like AMAF Kenya. It's called Mission Aviation Fellowship. These are people who fly into unreached areas with the gospel. They are pilots who've come together to take preachers to places like Masai Mara, places like Pokot, Turkana. So they take things that help people, that is Bibles and food stuff and things that really the needy people are in need of. And these are pilots who believe in Christ. And so while I was posting my things to do with theology and aviation, they reached out and told me we'd want to work with you. So you already see there's a gap whereby people who are, in that aviation industry are needed to co-join or to work together with people in the area of theology. So that is how I now see myself opening a way for me to enter that ministry. Yes.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now we have Emmanuel, the pilot, the preacher, and the president.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you forgot to mention that you're also the president.
Yeah.
Valentine. So has the faith, the pastor part of you helped you? How has your faith helped you into maybe in your field of aviation and in the leadership?
Now, I have really learned a lot from the scriptures, including my mentor. If you were to ask me who my real mentor is, it's Jesus Christ.
Wow.
He was a very good leader. He knew how to operate in groups, to operate alone, to move a crowd to a certain, goal. So he is one of the greatest leaders that has ever lived, because even to date, when he's absent in the physical aspect, people still follow him. Meaning his leadership skills are something that I really look up to. So me believing in Christ has really shaped me as a leader. It has really shaped me as, again, as you've said, a president. While I was running for the president of the University of Eastern Africa Marathon, people said, this is just a theologian, A lot of people didn't know I was a pilot, actually, until the day I declared that I want to run for presidency. That is when the friends who knew who I was started saying he's actually a captain, and now people are interested. How is a captain and a theologian, And so the preaching pilot came into place, and that has helped me to gain not only the support from the church, but also from the corporate world. So we are seeing an area whereby we are demystifying the idea that theology is separate from every other career, because we are now looking at, can a doctor also be a theologian? Can a teacher also be a theologian? Can an engineer also be a theologian? Because a theologian is basically somebody who studies God. And the misconception out there is that a theologian can only become a pastor. We can take theology to corporate world, we can take theology to areas in different spaces, because theology is basically, again, as I said, the study of God. So if you study God and know how to present God in your area, then that is okay, as a teacher, as an engineer, as whoever that you are in life. And so for me, the knowledge in theology has helped me become more of a good and ethical pilot, and also now, politician. Yeah, and I'm looking into spaces again in future where we will now involve politics in a way that is ethical, because in Kenya, ukisikia tu politician, you understand that this person is either corrupt, this person is a thief, this person does all the wrong things. Politicians are seen as people in the negative side. But how then do we change the narrative that we can have ethical leadership? We can have ethical politicians who will enter there and just take the role that they've been given by the citizens and perform their duty. Yeah.
So, well, I have a little information of piloting. Because I have friends who are pilots.
Okay.
So I am told pilots or aviation school or school of Kenya School of a flying school teaches you responsibility and time management.
Yeah.
Is it so?
That is very true.
So how has the aviation, your background in aviation, changed or shaped the person that you are today?
Thank you very much for that question. Actually, when you are being trained to be a pilot, there is a lot of skills that you need beyond the knowledgeable skills of understanding the know-how of operating an aircraft. There are also skills of time management, skills of discipline, skills of decision making. These things are taught just within the career. And so those things have helped me outside the aviation, outside the piloting space. And so things like time management, I really try to keep time in the real world, though we are in Africa, but then that is the training we have been given. Even as I was coming here today, I was just a few minutes late and I was feeling I'm really late. So because of that background, I've learned to manage my time very well. I've learned also to make decisions after seeing, the situation, because in aviation, you assess the situation before you make decisions. And so those skills have really shaped who I am as an individual, how I relate with people, how I relate with institutions, and how I relate to the general public. Yeah.
So I know everywhere we go, I do a lot of mentorship, and wherever we go to a school, you ask every kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? Even my own son says, I want to be a pilot. So are there programs maybe, or is there a way you now think of providing mentorship and guidance to these young students who want to be, and do you even have role models who are pilots?
Yeah, thank you. 100% we have a lot of students who want to be pilots. But then the issue is some of them don't have mentorship. I grew up myself not having a mentorship. I didn't have a mentor while I was in high school. I didn't have a mentor while I just finished high school. But thank God we have YouTube and we have all this social media that has come into place. It has really helped me. And so for me right now, I actually have a mentor. We have guys like Captain Kemboi, who flies in India, and he's a local person. He comes to mentor us within Rift Valley. And we also have Captain Riani, the owner of Kenya School of Flying. He's a very good mentor. He's actually the one who had mentored me to become an ethical pilot. Because when you're in that space, you're tempted to fit in. You know, just do yourself, party, drink, do whatever you want to do. But for him, he stood out and said, if we are to mentor the next pilots, we really need ethics. And that comes from understanding our religion and all that. And so we have mentors, and I myself, I have put time, I've put energy to become a mentor to someone. As we speak, a mentor to young aviators at Kenya One, Kapsabet Boys. So that right there we have the Aviators Club where I visit on Wednesdays as we talk and see how we can mentor pilots of the next generation. And so I'm looking forward to also having others. And programs, you asked about the programs we have. During the holidays, we advise parents to take their children. Like your son, for example, if he wants to become a pilot, you can take him to experience what it means to fly in a cockpit with an instructor. He'll be given a seat at a small fee. He's given that feeling of becoming a pilot at such a young age. And so when he's interacting with his books back in school, he'll be knowing how to go about. He'll be told which subjects to focus on, which subjects to improve on, so that he can make a good pilot in future. So we have those holiday programs that young aviators come and experience aviation.
That's great. And you just talked about Kenya One. Do you have other plans maybe to add more schools? Because I know if we want to go with you to these schools, we will find more. You know, I think children don't, they just say it for, and most oftenly is the young children will say they want to be a pilot, a doctor, and whatever. But as they grow, I think because they don't see any role model, any mentor in the field, they eventually maybe change their minds, and knowing that there are people like you who really want to mentor young pilots, that is encouraging. So please consider going to many more schools, especially maybe in this region, because you are within the region, so that we raise pilots. And I am glad there are programs that allow them to go into the cockpit and get to learn. So I hope you consider that. For sure. And open up not just for one school, open up for other schools, and maybe during the holidays you come up with a program for if you want to be a pilot. And I admire Captain Koki. I admire, and I always, every time I see her flying, I follow her, and I sometimes wish I was taken back to Form 1.
Fun fact, Captain Cook is also an alumni of Kenya School of Flying. Yeah, she did her PPL in Kenya School of Flying and proceeded to go to South Africa. But her foundation of who she is today came from Kenya School of Flying. And so she's the first lady captain to fly in KQ. And so when you say you admire her, I understand what that means, because, you know, the gender.
I know. And I really hope someday you don't just look at the boy, also consider the female captain. And you bring us Captain Koki. And I salute to Kemboi, Captain Kemboi. I know him, and I know he has also done something to empower young pilots. So it is my prayer that you guys consider the mentorship thing, so that we raise more. Even if I was asked to pay to go into the cockpit, why not?
Why not?
So many people would want to go and sit there and just see what happens there. So, where you come from, do you have maybe young pilots around who look up to you in your village, in your family?
Yes, I do. Even in my family, I have a small brother who wants to be a pilot, and not just a pilot, but even an astronaut. He wants to go above me. And so he looks up to me really, and he is inspired by how I behave at home, how I act, and how I carry myself. And so we also have several students I'm actually mentoring. As you said, I have 1 or 2 students from each and every school. Every school that I've visited, I always ask who wants to be a pilot. And then I tell a class teacher, please give me their name, and then I'll contact their parents so that we can organize maybe conferences so that they can learn more about aviation. We also have students from Nova Pioneer who have also a club there of young aviators. And there's young students who also aspire to be pilots. And so we are looking forward into creating a community of young aviators, not only from the town schools, but down in the village, so that they can already be exposed into understanding what aviation entails. Yeah.
So what ranks do you have in aviation?
Aviation, we have, we just say license holders. We have the PPL, that is the private pilot license. We have the commercial pilot license. We have what we call the airline transport pilot license. Those 3, and of course the instructors. So all these are according to which aircraft you fly. Like in driving, we have those drivers who have a license of a small car and those who have a license of a big car. But the names just remains a pilot. You're always a pilot. Yes.
So who is a captain, who is a pilot?
Now a captain is somebody who is in charge. If now we are flying even the smallest aircraft and I am in charge, I'm now the pilot in command. That one is called captain. You're the one in charge for the day, so that flight.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you're in charge of a flight for that day or that journey, you become a captain.
Yes.
But after that, you are a pilot. When you land, you become a pilot.
Yeah, but then again, as you advance in your hours, you now just become captain. Either you are in command or not. You're called a captain, just like that. Yes.
So when you advance the hours?
Yeah, when you advance the hours, you become more of a commanding captain.
Okay.
And so the name captain now becomes just a prefix for any pilot.
Any pilot.
Yes.
Wow, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So I know you are soon becoming you're now a theologist.
I'm a theologian. Yes.
And then you are a captain, a pilot, and you are a president.
Yeah.
So what are your aspirations?
My aspiration is to just lead a generation that will fear Christ. Wow. That is my greatest goal. Be it I will use my influence as a president, my influence as a captain, my influence as a pastor. That for me is whatever the Lord will use. But my aspiration is to just see people who are passionate about the gospel, about who Christ is in our lives. Because the other day we were in the national prayer breakfast, and the national conversation we had the previous day was on character. You know, we are talking of corruption, we are seeing the schools burning, we are seeing a lot of unrest in our society today. And the solution was, do we really have character as a nation? What is the common ground that we can find so that we can lead a good life? And so the conversation ended up being, we need to improve our character. And character can only be changed by higher being. And that for me, I knew Christ must be the answer to all these problems we have as a nation. So for me, it's to introduce a character that is beyond us, a character that we can follow either when somebody is watching or not. To a point, we will now fight corruption, we will fight poverty, we will fight all these things that we struggle with. So I know God is going to use us, both of us and all of us, to take this nation to the next level. So wherever the Lord will use, wherever He will call me through, maybe the captainship or the pastoral side or even the political side, I might end up being the first pastor who becomes president. Yeah, you never know how God calls so that He can lead His people. Yeah.
So you don't dream of owning an airline or something?
Now, that is on the economical side. Okay. They say tafuta pesa. Yeah, for you to have a voice in our nation today, you must have something. You must have something going on in your life. And so on my side hustles, of course, I'm looking forward to owning a school. As we speak, we've started an aviation program at Valentine University that is training young pilots to become ethical pilots in the near future. And so my goal is to have them being trained there as I create a specific school that will now have young aviators as young as 6 years old. They can begin, because we are now moving to CBE. Why take a child to a whole program that does not even venture into what he wants? So having an aviation school that we can admit children as young as 6 years old so that they can be trained to become ethical pilots is what I want. And as we advance that, we become more of an airline, flying locally and internationally. So my aspiration in the economical side is to have that airline. Again, as I said, we have the great commission of taking the gospel to the world. So that airline will help me even take people who are mentors, take pastors, take theologians to the ends of the world to take the gospel. So that airline will basically serve Christ in his kingdom.
Oh, what a dream.
Yeah.
And may God help you to achieve it.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Captain or Pastor, for finding time as the president to just talk about your journey. And I know someone watching us today, and especially a young pilot, will be inspired.
Amen.
And they will know there is someone they can look up to. They will know, they know there is someone, following. They have someone they are following.
For sure.
Yeah, so I hope the programs you've started and what you wish to do ahead of you will come to pass, because I know for sure it will raise a generation. As you say, you want to raise a generation. I also work hard to raise a generation of responsible young people who know what they want and where they are going to, by connecting them to mentors like yourself. Yeah, just role models, people they can look up to, so that as they grow, they have a sense of direction in them, knowing this is where I want to go to. So it's been a pleasure, and you have shown me that nobody should limit. But nobody should limit themselves to one thing. You can be a pilot and be a preacher. You can still lead, and all the things you are doing, and I am really proud of you. So my message to young people, and even I am sure that should be your message also, is let's not limit ourselves. We can do, there's so much we can do, and if you are willing to push yourself to go to the limits, you definitely will achieve what you want to. So thank you very much for finding time to speak to us, and I am personally inspired that it's only us who limit ourselves to how much we can do, and anyone who is willing to push themselves beyond can achieve what they want to do. So because it's not easy. You go to an aviation school of flying, and then you come back again, study theology, and you are the president. It's not easy, but indeed leadership is about service. And I can feel the service from the way you talk. So I hope and really wish you all the best. I hope that one day all that you've said will come to pass. Because I look at a future of young people who fear God, a future where everyone, push themselves to achieve what they want, and especially in the flying, in the aviation sector. And I want to speak to parents who have young children who are aspiring. You say you want to admit as young as 6 years old. That is something that I am sure will be a game changer, because if at 6 years you can go into an aviation school, you can imagine the kind of pilots you will have. So thank you for that, and I wish you all the best in your leadership. I know you will begin your official presidency next September, next academic year. And I wish you all the best. I also wish you all the best as you study theology, and I look forward to seeing you on the pulpit.
For sure.
Preaching Christ. Amen. And even in the aircraft, preaching in the cockpit, praying before you fly. Amen. So it's been a pleasure to have you. I wish you all the best. And to every parent, please let your children dream. Let them be what they want to be. And you've heard from our pilot here. I think he has achieved what he wanted to and what his baby grandmother wanted to. And I love the ethical. I love the way you speak about ethics. So if we raise children who learn these things very early, it will be so easy to handle everything else. So if you want your son or daughter to go into, if they wish to be pilots, there are opportunities that the young children can be taken into the cockpit. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is Nandi Youth TV. And we look forward to seeing you again. Keep dreaming, keep believing, keep showing up. Good night.